My name is Stanley Yelnats. All my life, I seem to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Okay. Bear with me here for a second. Camp Green Lake. Fighting age boys are sent away against their will and forced to work and dig holes to uncover a secret that's going to help the warden avenge her family's name and reclaim treasure she believes is rightfully hers, and the main character must break a curse and set himself free. World War I Western Front. Fighting age boys are drafted away against their will and forced into war to dig tunnels, aka holes, to gain an advantage on the German forces and avenge their assassinated allies and reclaim land that is rightfully theirs, and the main character must break a curse to set himself free.
Coincidence? I think not!
Do you remember that terror when you're a kid and you have to go down to your basement in the middle of the night to do something? Whether it be laundry, bothering your older brother, maybe you forgot your favorite game down there, feeding the missing children, giving grandma a good night kiss.
Grandma wanted to give you a big kiss.
You know, the usual. But then when you have to go back up, you have to shut all the lights off you put on to keep the monsters away, of course. But as you do that and shut off each light one by one, you can feel the darkness slowly closing in on you. Yeah, well, Frictional Games made an entire game based off of that very concept, and it's one of the most nerve-wracking games I've played in recent years. So off the bat, I'll be the first to admit while I do enjoy the first Amnesia game quite a bit, I didn't enjoy it enough to pursue the sequels or the games in similar vein that were made before it. But then I saw the new one took place during World War I, and the cold-blooded American in me rushed way down below when I saw you can use a fucking shotgun, and I knew I had to check it out. Despite not being the biggest fan of the series, I do have very fond memories with my friend Chris playing the original way back when during the height of the horror game on YouTube popularity with, you know, Markiplier and PewDiePie putting out videos regularly. Maybe they still do, I don't know. Amnesia The Bunker is by far one of the best horror games I've played in recent memory, and it takes all my favorite parts of my favorite horror games. It has the psychological horror and ambience of those late 2000s, early 2010 horror games mixed with elements from full-fledged survival horror games like Resident Evil with the addition of an item box and firearms. The story is pretty straightforward. You play as Henry, a French soldier on the Western Front during World War I, fighting German forces. But this is really only during the tutorial of the game, as it shows an exchange between him and his friend Lambert as they play a game of dice over who has to go out on patrol. Henry wins with Lambert going out. Cut to a few moments later when Henry goes to check in on his friend, he finds him down in a crater. Henry proceeds to feed him the finest tap water from Flint, Michigan, and then drags him out of the hole as they begin to make their way back to their garrison when they're hit by a mortar shell and Lambert is seemingly killed, with Henry being knocked out and waking up in the infirmary with amnesia.
Oh, that's why they call it that.
Henry wakes up to find the bunker in rather rough shape, and that in true French etiquette, the officers retreated from the bunker and blew the exits, sealing the remaining soldiers inside. Soldiers that were left behind, as you uncover through in-game notes and photographs, were pitted against disease, insanity, distrust, diminishing resources, and of course a giant beast that roams the bunker, along with other supernatural hallucinations and anomalies. That's about all I'll cover about the story. I think you should experience the full thing for yourself just because it's that good. Holes. There's a lot of them. Things come out of the holes. Things go in the holes. You can fill up the holes.
Holes! I need holes!
The monster in Amnesia the Bunker uses the various holes around the map, as do the rats. Block off said holes to stop things from getting through. The rats, however, you'll have to burn the corpses they feed on to stop them from coming out. When it comes to the many mechanics in this game, they will not outright tell you these things, and you'll have to be paying very close attention to the subtle clues laying around, or through the photographs you'll find. The bunker's lighting runs on a generator that you'll have to routinely fill with gasoline found throughout the map. Making sure the lights are on is very important as it reduces the probability of the monster coming out. Generator becomes less and less of a problem towards the mid-game where you'll have access to the wine cellar and the fuel storage where you'll be able to seemingly fill up endless bottles of gasoline. And the more lights you leave on in the bunker, the quicker the generator will drain. Now I hear a lot of people coming out with the actually having as many lights on doesn't matter. Spoken like someone who never got their ass beat because they were running the electric bill too high for leaving a single light on in their house. I'm gonna refute the claim using the game's own mechanics. Why would they give you the option to turn the lights off if they didn't use more power? At that point, you could just leave all the lights on so that the monster is always at a minimum threat throughout the whole map. Wouldn't it not matter then? If you disagree, how about we play a little game of dice to see who's right or who has to go on patrol in no man's land tonight? I hear it's a blast. The bunker is broken up into 5 main zones: the central bunker / officers' quarters, the arsenal, maintenance, soldiers' quarters, and the prison. Then later in the game there's the final area in the tunnels. There's even some points you're able to hear and see that the war is still going on while you're a prisoner in your own defenses, with the German army completely oblivious to the horrors just a few yards away from them. It adds such a layer of dread that even if you do escape the bunker, there is still death everywhere. Unless you follow Jesus, and then you will be granted everlasting life and eternal salvation. Resist the lustful temptations of busty anime horror and embrace the true horrors that are found in the pride of man and the horrors of war. Each area really stands out from one another, and exploring them is extremely fun. The level design in this game exceeds even just a simple horror game. All the optional areas and objectives you can explore and hidden secrets you can uncover, plus all the items being randomized, adds so much replayability to the game. While not a total sandbox, the game does offer a lot of different ways to solve the obstacles you encounter. For example, tripwires can be cut or dismantled with the bolt cutters, which every modern horror game needs for some reason. But if you don't have the bolt cutters, you can jump over the tripwire or even throw an object at it to disarm it. There's also certain rooms that you can't open with a key and that are just jammed shut, but unlike Silent Hill 3 where every door that's jammed can actually be opened a few different ways. Grenades always do the job, you can use the trench gun, and you can even throw a moderately heavy object at it to break it down. All of which, however, are very loud and will alert the monster, so you should probably make sure you have a good hiding spot first. The flashlight you get is very loud. It's the hot Cheetos girl in the cafeteria at 8 AM with flashlights. I'll be honest, I didn't even use it much after I learned the layout of the map and had no issues navigating in the pitch dark. But for the sake of getting good footage, not subjecting you guys to just footage of me slamming into tables in the pitch dark, like a teenager sneaking back into their house after a night out. The beast itself, despite being the only real enemy you'll have to worry about, adds a lot of variety to the gameplay. Since it can't be killed, you must do various tasks to keep the creature away. Throughout the run of the game, the beast will continue to dig more holes and shuffle through the walls, always giving you a feeling of unease. Even when the creature isn't around, you can hear it and still feel its presence. You'll have to reevaluate your memory constantly, trying to remember if that hole was there before, or you just forgot to barricade it, or the beast broke through. It's easily one of the best stalker enemies I've ever seen in a game. I'm usually highly critical of games with limited enemy variety, however, in this game it works really well since the game also doesn't overstay its welcome, only being around 5 to 6 hours long, with the addition of also having other threats such as the possessed soldier in the tunnels, and the rats who can smell your blood and will swarm you if you're wounded. And don't let the 5 to 6 hour length turn you away. It's really a constant thrill ride from start to finish. And if you really want to explore everything, you can easily stretch that to 10 plus hours. The game is also only $25, so go for it. The only thing that pulls me out of the game for the 1 or 2 moments is when you're outside the bunker and you can view the outside and people can clearly see you and start shooting at you. But you can't flare for help or at least stick out a little white flag, maybe to surrender so you're saved from a literal demon. I mean, come on, it's not like it would be the first time the French surrendered to the Germans during a world war.
I reckon you better suck these balls!
If you're a fan of any era of horror gaming, it's a must-play for sure. Amnesia The Bunker truly combines the best aspects of 2010 horror games with the mechanics from classic survival horror games. Even bringing back no autosaves on a typewriter, lantern. With an item box and safe room, like another pretty cool obscure franchise you've probably never heard of. They go to another school, they're pretty underground. If it's your kind of thing, you should consider subscribing. I make videos on those kind of games all the time.